Here we are in section 2.6 with problems number 23 through number 28. Alrighty, here it looks like we've got some fractions we could get rid of. This is an over 1, over 1, over 1, and so this number 3, that's our common denominator. So if we times everything by 3, times by 3, times by 3, times by 3, it will work. Gone. So we get 7t minus 6 equals, that's 57 plus 15t. Good. Next, we've got to get the two t's together. So subtract 7t from both sides, and we get negative 6 equals 57 plus 8t. Make sure you're okay with that we just subtracted the 7t and subtracted the 7t from both sides of the equal sign. Next, we are able to, okay, t's all together, so we subtract the 57. Negative 57 and negative 6 is negative 63, and then divide by 8. T equals negative 63 eighths. Good. Number 24. First thing we're going to do is get rid of the parentheses, and then we'll worry about the fractions. So we have negative 3/4 x minus, if we take 3/4 times 4, it's going to be a plus because of the two negatives, 3 equals 5 plus 2x. Next, we're going to times 3 to get rid of those pesky fractions. And we have 1, 1, 1, and a 4, so 4 is the common denominator. Times 3 by the least common denominator. And we end up with something nice. Negative 3x plus 12 equals 20 plus 8x. Now we've got to combine the x's together. Here's a negative 3x over on this side and a positive 8x over here. Let's add 3x to both sides. So that one's gone. And over here we get an 11x. So we added 3x and added 3x, and that guy went away. So now the x's are together. We can subtract the 20. Get 11x equals negative 8, and then divide both sides by 11. Negative 8 elevenths. Good. Number 25. We don't have any fractions to deal with, but we do have a 6 right here and a 10 right there. Least common denominator of a 6 and a 10. That could be like a 60, 30. But 30 will go into, we'll have both of those go into it. So if we times everything by 30, those fractions will go away. 30 times 1/6 is a 5x minus 30 times 4 is a 120 equals 90 plus, 30 times 3/10 is a 9x. So get the two x's together. We now subtract 5x from both sides, and we get a 4x on that side, plus the 90 equals 120. Subtract 90 from both sides, and we get 210, negative 210, equals a 4x. X is, when we divide this by 4, negative 210 over 4. That's negative 105 over 2. So negative 105 halves, or 52.5. Number 26. Get rid of the parentheses first. Jump these in, and we get 5 halves times a negative 4 is negative 10x. You can try that in your calculator if you can't see that one. 5 halves times negative 2, that's negative 5. Hey, look, those fractions were gone. That was pretty nice. 3/4 x plus 6. So that means our common denominator now is 4. So times by 4 everywhere. And we get negative 40x minus 20 equals 3x plus 24. Get the x's together. I'm going to add 40x to both sides. So I get 43x plus 24 equals negative 20. Subtract 24 over here, and I get 43x equals a negative 44. Divide by 43, and I have negative 44 over 43. Okay, number 27. Here, what's the common denominator to get rid of this? It looks like a 6. So if we times by 6 over here, times by 6 over here, that guy just goes away. This guy, 6 divided by 3, is a 2. So we get 2x minus 10 equals 5x plus 8. Now, some of you may be familiar with cross multiplication. If you were to have times the 6 up here and the 3 up here, that's perfectly fine. That would have been using 18 as the least common denominator. And that isn't the least common. It's a common denominator, but it's not the least. So it would have made these numbers bigger, which is fine. Let's move on now. The x's, we can get those together by subtracting 2x from both sides. And then subtracting 8 from both sides, we get 3x equals negative 18. Divide both sides by 3, and we get x equals a negative 6. Good deal. Number 28. The least common denominator of a 14 and a 7 is indeed a 14. So if we times by 14 everywhere, this is where cross multiplication fails, because you don't have just two fractions equal to each other. So 14 cancels there, and we're left with x plus 7 equals 14 times 6 is 84. 14 times 3/7, that's going to be a 6x. Let's get the x's together. Add 6x over here. Subtract 7. We get 7x equals 77. Divide by 7, and we get x equals 11. Good.